Hi, I'm Larry London, and this is Border Crossings, your first choice for anything music. Coming up on today's show, I welcome American singer-songwriter Caitlyn Smith. On tour for her debut CD, Starfire, Katelyn joins us with her story and several live performances. As a writer, Katelyn has worked with Meghan Trainor on her hit song, Like I'm Gonna Lose You, and she's also written for John Legend, Dolly Parton, and Garth Brooks. She was named one of Rolling Stone magazine's 10 artists you need to know. And today, you will get to know Caitlyn Smith. She's our guest, so stick around. This is Border Crossings. Hi, this is Border Crossings. My name's Larry London, and I welcome you to today's show. In our studio, she's been on tour now for her brand new LP, which is called Starfire, and Rolling Stone magazine names her one of the 10 people you should know. So we're going to get to know Caitlyn Smith today. Welcome to D.C.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
It's nice to meet you in person, and you sound great. I love the music, love the new album.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
It just came out in January.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
But it's been a process for a while.
It's been a very long process. We actually released an EP. I don't even know time anymore because I have a baby, an 18-month-old. And so I released an EP just prior to him being born. And I kind of just let that stew. And it caught a lot of attention by a lot of different people. And so then I ended up signing a record deal and releasing this record through Monument Records.
Wow, that's great. So this is exciting times.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
But it's not new to you because apparently you started at a very early age in a band and writing songs and performing songs.
Totally. I started back in Minnesota. That's where I grew up. And I started singing in every church and every county fair and 4th of July gazebo and dive bar that I could in middle school. I was cold calling venues and I wanted to sing from being yay high to right now. And it's been a long journey. I've always wanted to do this and started writing songs in middle school, and my parents kind of saw that and saw my drive, and they sat me down when I was 15 and they said, hey, we have this college fund for you, but if you want to make a record, you could use it for that.
Whoa.
And so I was making my first record in high school.
With your college fund.
With my college fund. Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Wow.
And I was able to gig enough and sell enough records that I paid them back for the loan, and that kind of just started. It all snowballed from there.
Being 14 and playing in bars?
Yeah, you get the X's on your hands, underage.
No drinks.
But I wanted to play anywhere that would let me.
Well, you've been writing songs, I guess, as long or longer than you have been actually singing, but we're going to get into the songwriting process and whatnot, and I know you've worked with a lot of big-name, successful artists as well, so we welcome you to our studios, and we'd like to hear some live music if you wouldn't mind doing something for us.
Yeah, totally. The first song I'm going to play kicks off my new record, Starfire. And every time I think about it, I think of my gorgeous husband. I was a mess before him. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate that when you just find that person, it's like, man, everything's way better now.
What's this song called?
This one's called Before You Called Me Baby.
All right.
Sure is hard to remember. Laugh before you walked in a picture. I was a sad Mona Lisa with a crooked frame, standing on my platform waiting for my train. I was messed up, wandering, broke down, stumbling, running for my life. I was heartbroken, caught up on a long string of bad luck, searching with no end in sight. Before you called me baby, before you looked me in the eyes, I had nothing left to save me. Before you called me, before you called me, before you called me baby. like the walls fell down and the lights turned on, and the band started playing a different song. Like I was baptized by the fire in your kiss. No, I've never, ever, ever felt like this before. You called me baby, before you looked me in the eyes. I had nothing left to save me. Before you called me, before you called me, before you called me baby, before you called me baby. I was drowning, wasted, lost and jaded, hanging by a thread. I was sinking, sugar, but I almost gave up on this lonely heart in my chest. Before you called me baby, before you looked me in the eyes, I had nothing left to save me. Before you called me, before you called me, before you called me baby, before you called me baby, oh yeah, before you called me baby, baby,
Very nice. Very nice. Katelyn Smith's here on Border Crossings. So what's the husband's name?
Raleigh.
Raleigh, if you're listening. That's
for you,
yours,
baby.
Raleigh. Now, I'm sure there's other songs inspired by either your present marriage, present relationship, or past
Yeah,
relationships. Songwriters seem to draw on a lot of pain.
Yes, there's a lot of pain in my heart. No, I mean, as a writer, you always have your antennas up, and if you're not writing about your pain, you're writing about somebody else's. But you know, there's always in my songwriting, I love to show pictures. I love to show I love to roll it like a movie scene. And there's a song on my record called "Scenes from a Corner Booth" at closing time on a Tuesday, where I remember I was sitting in a bar in New York City, and I was like, man, look at all these crazy looking people around me, and it just sparked an idea for a song. And so as a writer, songs are everywhere.
Where's the strangest place you found a song?
That's a great question. Actually, the strangest place I found a song was in Apple Maps. My Apple Maps app. I was on my way to a co-write with a good friend of mine, and I didn't know where his office was, and put in the address, and the address took me all the way to Tacoma. And I was like, that's a brilliant title, and I'll play that later. I'll play it later. So.
Great. Are there songs on the album inspired by your son?
I'm trying to think. I've written songs about him, but I don't think any of them are on the record because the record was written a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. But since having a son, it's definitely opened this new door of inspiration, like learning love in a whole new language and understanding it in a whole different light. And so
wow,
it's been really awesome for songwriting.
Well, of course. How has it changed you being a mom? I mean,
it's changed everything. It's the best thing I've ever done. It's the best thing I've ever done.
He becomes the number one priority.
He becomes the number one.
That's it.
He just owns the house, man. No, but it's changed a lot of things as far as like in my career. I feel like it's been such a blessing because I kind of had this whole lie running in my head that like if you have a kid, then your career is over, and you're not like, you know, as a woman, I feel like there's just a lot of pressure, and the absolute opposite happened. As soon as I had a kid, the doors like swung open in my career. Things actually started happening. I think it's partially because you start saying no to a lot more things that you just
right.
that you just don't need to say yes to, and you just protect your time more, and I I think it allows for better opportunities. I don't know. It's changed
Wow.
a lot.
Does he come on the road with you? Have you brought
He
him?
does. We're a little gypsy family. My husband plays in my band, and so, him and I are both out on the road, and we bring him and a nanny, and it's an adventure. Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people would ask the question, okay, if you've been doing this since you were 14 or 12,
Yeah.
and very young, and you were in a band before, and why did you wait so long to put out your first album?
Yeah, I mean, I would consider this my first record. I've released a bunch of independent EPs that
You have? Okay.
and they just, I feel like it took a very long time for me as an artist to figure out who I am. Because I'm a singer, I can kind of sing all different genres, and because I'm a songwriter, I can kind of put on a different hat, and I can write pop and folk and country and everything in between. And so because I can wear all different kinds of hats, it was a bit of a long and winding road for me to find out my voice as an artist. And so though I've released a bunch of stuff independently, I consider this like my first record.
Which do you do better, songwriting or singing?
I don't know.
What do you, from your
I feel
perspective?
like I can't have one without the other.
Or which do you prefer?
I don't know. I prefer singing and being able to communicate the words that I've written. And that's why when I moved to Nashville, I kind of took a break from the stage for a bit to just study songs and because I saw like you can have the best voice in the world, but if you don't have the songs, you're not going to have much of a career. And so I, took a break and started studying songs and writing songs and started getting cuts, which are other people recording my songs. And as the years went on, it became harder and harder to give my songs up. It became harder and harder to see other people singing them. And I knew then it was time for me to step back in the spotlight and be able to be the one communicating.
Must be very difficult to, but it's at the same time when you give a song to a Meghan Trainor or to a John Legend or Lady Antebellum or all of the folks that you have written for, it's got to be rewarding that those people are recording your songs. But at the same time, it's probably difficult to say, that's not what I was conveying when I wrote that song.
It's, most of the time, like I would say 99% of the time, it's a gigantic honor. And like, you're just so glad that someone wants to sing your song, because for someone to be able to connect with your song enough that they want to sing it every night, that's gigantic. And so I'm normally not thinking about, oh, I wouldn't sing it like that, or I wouldn't do that lick. I'm usually like, that seems really fun to be able to sing that. I don't know.
Is there a genre that you like more than another? Is there one where you feel more comfortable?
Not genre, and I think it's very apparent on this record because it is kind of a genre-less record. You can't really put it in one box, and that's kind of how I listen to music. For me, when I listen to a song, I just want it to make me feel something. I want it to make me cry. I want it to make me remember my past versions of myself, or I want it to make me dance. And if it doesn't do that, if I can't connect with it, I don't want to listen to it. So.
And it must have been hard to pick 12 songs out of the hundreds that you've written for yourself. Here's my first big album that I'm putting out.
Totally. It's so
12
hard.
songs. How are you going to narrow it down? What was the process?
It's so hard. And it was a couple of the songs had stuck around with me for years and years that I just loved and were just part of my story and I wanted to sing. It actually took a bit of a shift in my brain to go from being a staff songwriter, writing for other people, to writing for myself and writing my story and my truth. Like, they're kind of two different things. Because if I was to get in one room with you and say, let's write a song for your record, I would want to hear your stories and try and pull that out. And so when I went in to write for Starfire, I kind of thought about, what kind of stories do I want to tell that I've lived? And songs like This Town Is Killing Me on the record is a song about living in Nashville and how it's a brutal town. But also there's nowhere else I'd rather be than in Music City, making music.
Sure.
Or like Starfire, which has been my journey of so many, I've lived in Nashville for 8 years. And within that 8 years, wrote hundreds and hundreds of songs, but also tried to get a record deal for 7 of those 8 years and heard no from every label in town multiple times. And it was hard and heartbreaking. And so when I went in to write Starfire, I kind of took all that with me and laid it all out there of how, no matter who says no, I'm still going to make music.
Right. And this is
And
not
I'm
a
gonna
career
make-
for a thin-skinned person.
No, it's not.
There's a lot of rejection.
Right. If there's something, if you are thinking about being a singer, but there's something else that you want to do, I would say do that.
What was the other thing that you were thinking about doing that you were kind of on track to go
There
to
was
college?
never a
You never had
plan
anything
B.
else. It was
Yeah.
always been...
So for me, I saw that I could be a songwriter, and that was really my plan B. I'm like, cool, I could make stuff up for other people while I try and figure out how to be an artist. So this was always the plan.
This was it. Do you look back at some of the songs you wrote early on and bring them out of the shoebox or
I
wherever you kept them
definitely
and say,
do not bring
you
them
don't
out.
bring those back. Recycle.
Recycle them. I think it was Bob Dylan or somebody, that a really great songwriter, that had said, like, if you want to be a songwriter, go write 100 songs and then throw them in the trash and start over. And
Wow.
Which is so true. Those early songs, you're just trying to figure out how to rhyme, how to do stuff.
Right. Not a lot to draw on
No.
when you're young.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, Katelyn Smith is our guest. If you wouldn't mind doing another song.
Yeah,
We'd love to hear
totally.
some
This
live-
song is what I was just talking about, a song Starfire, which is the name of my record.
Right.
And
Why did you decide this was going to be, of all the songs, this one would be representative? This is the name of the album.
Yeah, so the Starfire is actually an old vintage guitar that my dad had given me, and I just loved the name of it, and I love the sound of the word. But this was really the cornerstone of the record. I finally decided, after being told no by so many people, that I was going to make this record for myself, and just not think about genre or not think about radio or anything else. Just make music that I loved, and I love singing this song, so that's why the record's called Starfire. It's like I'm walking on a highway, staring straight into the sun, with the universe around me, waiting for me to fall down. Your love is like a junkie juggling a loaded gun. Your words are like a whiskey river rolling off of your tongue. But you won't burn out this starfire. There's feelings dancing in my flames. Blow me out, I'll just burn brighter. No, you can't burn out this starfire, no matter what you say. I won't ever be perfection, ever be your golden child. I'm not spinning on this planet just to merely make you smile. I love my crooked halo, hell, I won't apologize. You can judge it all you want, but no matter how hard you try, you won't burn out this starfire. There's feelings dancing in my flames. Blow me out, I'll just burn brighter. No, you can't burn out this starfire, no matter what you say. Oh, you ain't never ever gonna burn me out. You ain't never ever gonna burn me out. You ain't never ever gonna burn me out. You ain't never ever gonna burn. Oh, you can try, but you ain't ever, oh no, 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 you ain't ever gonna burn me out. Ooh.
They're standing around the world.
Thank you.
Right now. Starfire, the song and the album. Katelyn Smith is our guest. And wow, very powerful voice.
Thank you so much.
Have you been professionally trained, or is this a gift that you just kind of developed on your own?
Yeah, I think my parents at a real young age noticed I was real loud and loved to sing. And I started taking vocal lessons when I was 7 and was actually classically trained. But then I was like, I don't want to sing like that. I want to sing like this. So it's been a long while.
You've written for Garth Brooks and Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, and quite a few, legendary figures. What lane do you find yourself personally when you're writing music for you? Is there a sound or a style? I know that a lot of artists don't want to be put in a box, but it's if you wanted to define what you do, your sound,
right?
What would you say?
It's really hard to. I mean, it's really, really difficult to describe your own sound. I think my voice is very soulful. But it's not necessarily soul music. I like to say like soulful singer-songwriter because it's really song-focused as well. But it's so hard to put myself in a lane because I know I kind of do a lot of different things.
Right. And you have to change your mindset when you're writing a different kind of music for a different kind of artist, or is it just always
when
Katelyn Smith?
when I'm writing for an artist, it's definitely a different mindset where I need to get inside their head and get inside what they believe. Like it's totally different instead of getting in the mind of Katelyn Smith.
Who do you want to write for that you haven't yet?
Oh, that's a great question. I would love to hear Adele sing one of my songs. She is like the voice of all voices. But also, I've had a song recorded by Dolly Parton, but I've never been able to meet her at all. I'd love to collaborate with her someday because she's magical.
And who inspires you? Who are you listening to?
Yeah, I listen to so many different artists, but mainly songwriters. Everyone from Patty Griffin, Ray LaMontagne, Paul Simon, Bob Dylan. I love the Beatles. I love Joni Mitchell. There's too many. I could keep talking about how many people I love. So
recently, the world was focused on your hometown, Minneapolis, Minnesota, and where the Super Bowl was.
Right.
Now, making that move from Minnesota to Nashville, was that a big adjustment for you?
Yeah, it was a big adjustment. I started taking trips to Nashville from Minneapolis in high school and then just started going every month. And what I did see in Nashville was this beautiful songwriting community and this beautiful music community. I cut my teeth in Minneapolis. I played in every venue that I could and would sneak into clubs if I wasn't old enough and try and just consume as much music as I could. And so much of that city defines who I am. But Nashville for work made most sense.
Sure.
But man, I do miss Minnesota a lot. I make it home a lot.
Minnesota in the summer, not in the winter.
Exactly. Minnesota in the summer is like heaven on earth. Like just 4th of July on the boat. It's glorious.
The big mall and whatnot. But coming to Nashville and then now writing songs as you've been writing songs, what's the plan going forward? You want to focus, you want to continue writing songs for others, or do you want to focus more on yourself?
I will always write songs until the day that I die. And so if I can have other people record them, that's really exciting and fun. But right now my focus and my energy is on my artistry and trying to get my music out there to as many people as I can. And so we're starting our tour goes on sale today, the tickets.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Great. So we're starting our tour in April, which I'm really excited about. It'll be the most intense touring that I've ever done.
International?
Eventually we'll hit international. We don't have it booked yet, but that's my dream is,
Have you done any performing out of the country?
Just in the UK. Yep.
And what's the audiences like there in comparison to back home?
They're amazing. It's hard to compare, but there's a giant dedication and love over there for music, and it's very apparent. And so I love going over there. It's so fun.
Well, hopefully we'll get you some more invites for this show. People get to meet you and get to hear you for the first time. Katelyn Smith is in our studios. One more song. We have time for one more.
I would love to, yes. This is one of my favorite songs to sing live. I was mentioning it earlier. Songs come from such weird places, and this came from an iPhone app from Apple Maps messing up. But it's a song called Tacoma, which I wrote with my friend Bob DiPiero, and talks about how when your heart gets broke, you just want to get as far away as you possibly can from that person. This was also recorded by a guy named Garth Brooks. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
I think I've heard of him. Yeah.
So thanks, Garth, for cutting this song.
For paying a few bills.
Yeah, buying those diapers, baby.
That's it, right? Buy the diapers.
Exactly. Awesome. So here's Tacoma. I'm leaving. The words fall out of my mouth and onto the floor. I am needed to pack up my bags and walk right out the door. This is goodbye. I roll the windows down in my green Chevrolet. Don't know where I'm going, just know that I can't stay. Might make it to Memphis, but if that ain't far enough, I'll speed down the highway to Tulsa, Missoula, so fast that the hurricane catch up. I'm burning your memory 1 mile at a time, all the way to Tacoma. By then you'll be out of my mind. I'm thinking with a truck stop song and a cold cup of coffee that I'm drinking. And I'm hurting like hell, but honey, how could I not be? You made me the joker, the fool, yeah, the last one to know. So I'm gonna put mountains and rivers and deserts between us, go as far as I can go. Might make it to Memphis, but if that ain't far enough, I'll speed down the highway to Tulsa, Missoula, so fast that the hurricane catch up. I'm burning your memory 1 mile at a time, all the way to Tacoma. By then you'll be out of my mind. Might leave some tears in Topeka, couple of sleepless nights in Cheyenne. Never tell that I'll miss you. I'll hit the gas as fast as I can. Might make it to Memphis, past those Kansas City lines, all the way to Tacoma. By then you'll be out of my mind. All the way to Tacoma. By then you'll be out of my mind. Oh.
Nice, nice, nice.
Thank you.
It's obvious to see why Rolling Stone said your voice is soaring and expressive.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, it is. It takes you on a journey. The songs are great. I mean, you spend 14 hours in the car, I guess, driving around, and coming up with ideas for songs.
Totally.
So congratulations on the beginning. It's not really the beginning, but it is the beginning. As you mentioned earlier, this is your first real
absolutely.
album.
It feels like the door's finally kicked open. So, yeah.
And there's a lot of exciting things to come in 2018, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Have you thought about other projects on your wish list you'd like to do? A kids album now that you're a mom?
Oh, my goodness, for sure. Maybe when I'm old and gray, I'll make a kids album.
in the olden
I
days.
have like this. I have this dream to do cartoon voiceover someday. So
There
I
you
hope maybe a stint on Broadway. I don't know. The possibilities are endless.
Acting is something you'd like to do?
Acting would be so fun. I don't know if I'm any good at it, but
I'll bet you.
We'll
would be.
see.
I bet you. If you're a creative and beautiful girl, I'm sure you'd be fine. Well, thank you for coming on the show. Where can people get the album? Where do
Yes, it's anywhere that music is sold online. So it's streamed on Spotify, Apple, Pandora. It's also available at Barnes & Noble bookstores and your local record store.
Now, how
If you
about
have
your
an indie
website?
record
Is there
store.
a link or anything?
Oh, yeah. Just go to KatlynSmith.com.
KatlynSmith.com.
Easy.
And do you do Twitter, I'm sure, Facebook, all
Twitter,
that stuff?
Facebook, and Instagram, which is my personal favorite.
Just Katelyn Smith? That's where they'll find
Yep, Katelyn Smith.
you? All right. Well, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having
A
me.
pleasure to
Larry.
meet
It's
you.
so
And
good
what's
to
that
meet you.
tattoo? I see the little.
Oh, yes.
some
It's
little
a
artwork.
bird. And that tiny bird next to it, that's my little Thomas.
Oh, that's the baby's name?
That's his name,
Oh,
yeah.
well, wonderful. Thank you so much
cute.
for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Katelyn Smith, Starfire. That's the name of the new album. Thank you very much. This is Border Crossings. I'm Larry London.